So Asa barges in the house, definitely doesn't bother knocking, and he's exhausted, out of breath, collapses on the couch, and he closes his eyes, and all of a sudden he starts smelling. Jake, give me some of the red stuff. I need the red stuff now. and Jack's like, what? The what? The red? He's like, the red stuff. And Yaakov like, oh, you mean the soup? The soup? Yeah, the soup, the red stuff. And Yaakov says, oh, okay. I'd be happy to get you a bowl, dear brother. But I was thinking maybe I'll give you the soup and you'll sell me your standing as the firstborn, maybe. And they said, whatever, I'll give you whatever you want. Just take the firstborn. I want the soup. Give me the soup. And Yaakov gives him the soup. He gives him the firstborn status, and everyone is happy. And so the question is just, why? What is it that Yaakov wants? What does the Bechorah mean? Why does he want it? What's the value? Why is Esav apparently so willing to let it go if it is something of value? And like, why now? What does it have to do with the soup and Esav being exhausted? And like, was this just a chance opportunity where Esav was vulnerable? What's going on? So Abarbanel has just an extraordinary reading. And I really just wanted to read this Abarbanel to you. So it's going to take a few minutes. So sit tight, and you can always turn this off whenever you want. It's up to you. He gives one explanation, and this is the one that I think is amazing. So he says, "Who Bir Hasheni Hu Yaakov Amar LeEsav Hine haben Bechor Hu Omed B'Mkom Aviv V'Ad Mutelat Hanagat Habayit B'Mkom Aviv V'Yotzav Cholish V'Zaken." Being the firstborn means that you stand in place of the father, the head of the household, and therefore it is incumbent upon you to manage the household and to provide for the family. And when the father is weak and old and can no longer conduct the family's affairs and provide for everyone, then the oldest son, who then the father, who's now elderly and incapacitated, can provide for the children. The eldest son then has to relate to his siblings as if they were his own children, as if he were the father. He has to stand in place of the father and provide for them. And Yaakov says, "V'ata Esav, you don't do that. That's not your thing. You run out in the field all the time. Who knows what you're doing? And you don't worry at all about, you don't care what's going on at home. Your father may as well be dead, and just obliterated from the world. But I'm a young child, and I'm weak and in pain. And because you leave me alone, I'm the one who needs to take care of dad when he's sick, because you're out gallivanting around town. And I'm the one who has to make him soup, to eat, because apparently he can't eat anything else. I'm the one who doesn't say the story, but I'm the one who needs to make him his porridge, to care for him. The low daily kol hatzar zeh. It's not enough that I've got all this burden. And you waltz in from the field like a bear, which is totally insensitive to everything around you. The people who just don't care at all. It's vacation. And the soup that I made for our ailing father when you were absentee, you just made like, hey, just give me, I need that soup. As if it were my job to make food for you, or your personal chef. You've got it backwards. I'm the young one. And you were treating me as if I were the Bechor, as if I were the firstborn whose responsibility it was, in place of our father, to provide for the family. And you're acting as if you are the young one. You're the little kid who deserves to be fed when they run into the door. You've got it backwards. That it's as if it were my responsibility, not yours. And so he says, choose, pick. It's up to you. If you want to be the firstborn, you want to be the head honcho and in charge of the family, great. But then, you need the one who's going to need to manage the household, utsarcha, and all of its needs, in place of our father. And the entire burden is going to have to be upon you. You're the one who's going to have to take charge and take responsibility for caring and providing for this family. And if you don't, if you don't want it, fine. I will do it. I'm doing it anyway. You're asking me to give you the soup that I prepared for family? Fine, I'll give it to you. But that means that we've reversed roles. And he emphasizes, he says, michra kayom, tell me as if like by the light of day or as if today. What does it mean today? Just like today, apparently, everything in this household is on my shoulders. So let's just, if that's the way it's going to be, let's ratify it. Let's make it official. I'm the one who has responsibility for the household. You want my soup? Fine. I'm going to be the one who gives this family soup forever. And I will be the one who bears the burden of being the firstborn, and managing the household. You don't have to worry at all. You can be carefree. You can be a little kid who has everything taken care of for him. And you won't have to do anything. And he goes on to say, and Asaph says, you know what, that actually sounds kind of nice. And he says, if this is what the Bechorah is about, being the Bechor, apparently this hadn't clicked for him. That being the Bechor, being the one in charge, being the head of the household means you're the one who stays home and does the dreary, boring, tedious work of care and love and responsibility for the needs of the people in your house and your ailing father and your dependent children and siblings. It doesn't mean it's not about glory and honor and going out into the field and winning fame. Being the firstborn means staying home and taking care of what needs taken care of. And that's what being a Bechor means. And that's what inheriting the patrimony of Abraham means, and carrying forth the legacy of the Jewish people and the covenant with God. That means to be the kind of person who stays at home and makes soup for your family. And the way on this telling of the story, it wasn't even, Yaakov didn't, or maybe he knew he wanted it, but it hadn't quite crystallized until it finally hits him. Like, I'm the one who stays home and cares for my family and makes the soup, and it's a pain. It's really hard. This is a burden. And I'm actually okay with it. This is who I am. And if this is who I have to be, this is who I'm going to be. That's fine. Sell me the Bechorah. And Asaph says, I have no interest. Take it. And that is how the Jewish people is born, and are the last of our 3 forefathers from whom the seed of Israel disperses, is the one who says, yeah, I'll be the one who stays home and makes the soup. Again, wishing everyone a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos.